Hello and welcome to Notice Tonight, the show that decodes the region. I am Wasbir Hussain. 21 years after the ceasefire with the NSC and IM and after about 100 rounds of talks, the Naga peace agreement has still not been reached. A framework agreement was signed 3 years ago between the two sides, but that has also been fading into history. Last month, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs, comprising 30 MPs from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, placed its 213th report in Parliament. The committee, in its report, has expressed concern over the delay and said the Nagas are beginning to get restive and therefore the Government of India must try and work out an acceptable agreement soon. Now, what can be an acceptable solution? Earlier, as part of a possible agreement, the NSC and IM wanted to say they would be with India, not within India. Now, the Government of India representatives had briefed the Parliamentary Committee that following the 2015 Framework Agreement, the NSC and IM has agreed for a settlement within the Indian Federation. Another crucial issue that the committee's report states is the decision not to alter the interstate boundaries in the northeast, but there would be some special arrangement for the Nagas in the region. That means the integration of Naga areas in the region under one politico-administrative umbrella is not on the cards. Will the Nagas agree to this? Can New Delhi ignore reservations on Naga areas integration by state governments and the civil society in Manipur, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh? What can be the special arrangement that the centre is thinking about? What is the most contentious issue at this juncture? To discuss the subject, I am joined from Kohima by Mr. Elu Nadang, Assembly Secretary of the Naga Hoho, Mr. Negulo Krome, Secretary General of the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights, Teza Terry, Chairman Media Cell of the Nagaland Tribes Council, and Mr. Jakie Kate, Press Secretary of the Angami Youth Organization. In Imphal, I have Mr. Khuraizam Athoba, Secretary General of the United Committee Manipur, and Mr. Nishikanta Sapam, Managing Editor of the popular English daily Sangha Express. And at our studios in Guwahati, I have writer and commentator Mr. Moyur Bora. But before I begin the discussions, let us listen in to what the Government of India representatives had briefed the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs.
Standing Committee on Home Affairs 213th report laid in Parliament on July 19, 2018. Naga Framework Agreement signed on August 3, 2015. Earlier, NSC and IM said they would be with India as part of the deal, but not without India. As part of the Framework Agreement, NSC and IM agreed for a settlement within Indian Federation. Clear that interstate boundaries will not be changed. Understanding reached that there would be special arrangement for Nagas wherever they are.
What the Parliamentary Standing Committee recommend?
Yes.
What the Parliamentary Standing Committee recommend? Final agreement will have implications in Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. So state governments must be kept informed of the shape of the talks and fears of all stakeholders allayed. Delay in reaching final agreement making Nagas restive. So government must conclude peace talks at the earliest. Vested interest must not be allowed to hijack the peace narrative. Wants government to come up with a comprehensive rehabilitation and settlement program for the cadres of insurgent outfits.
Okay, now we have heard what the Government of India representatives told the committee, and we have also heard what the committee has basically recommended. I would like to begin with Mr. Elu Nadang in Kohima, Assembly Secretary of the Naga Hoho. Mr. Elu Nadang, Mr. Elu Nadang, the line is not clear to him. Mr. Jakie Khate of the Angami Youth Organization. Mr. Jakie, the Parliamentary Standing Committee has expressed concern about the delay in reaching the Naga Peace Accord. 21 years is a very long time, and the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs have noted in its report that the Nagas are getting restive. What are your thoughts?
Yes. Hello. Yeah. Okay.
So I think Jakie is not, the line to Jakie is not clear. Mr. Elu Nadang, the Parliamentary Standing Committee has filed a report. Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs have filed a report to Parliament last month, and Parliamentary Standing Committee has said that the Nagas are getting restive. Therefore, the Government of India must come up with an early solution to the Naga problem. Mr. Nadang, what do you have to say?
My line's gone. Hello. Yes. The Naga people. Hello.
Carry on,
Hello?
we can hear you. Mr. Elu Nadang, go on, I can hear you.
Yes, the network is bad. Can you please repeat once again? The network is not good.
Mr. Nadang, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs have submitted a report. They are saying that the Nagas are getting restless. The Naga Accord has been delayed. 21 years is a long time. What do you have to say?
21 years of peace talk is a long years. The Naga people have waited in the name of peace process for such a long years. But now, without the sincerity of the government of India, we do not know what is happening. They said that with the signing of the framework agreement, they will solve the problem within 3 months, but 2 years have lapsed. We are made to doubt the sincerity of the government of India. We do not know what is the reason behind it. But
Right.
if this has to continue, the Naga people have to decide.
Naga
If
people
the
have to
government of
decide.
India has to continue delaying this process, yes.
Yes. Mr. Jakie, if you can hear me, Mr. Jakie Khate, this Parliamentary Standing Committee is a very important body, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs. It has 30 members. Now, it has submitted a report to both houses of Parliament. They have said that the Government of India must come up with an early solution. They have recommended an early solution, in fact. Now, what do you have to say?
Mr. Wasbir, I don't understand the logic behind the report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee report, because after more than 20 years of discussion, after more than 20 years of negotiation with Government of India, between Government of India and the Naga political groups, especially the NSCNIM, we suddenly come to discover just recently the cat seems to be out of the bag now. And we have discovered that they're discussing about surrendering the Naga soldiers to become an Indian, to be inducted into Indian Army, to be given ex gratia, discussing about some symbolic symbols like the flag, the passport, and some special status to be given to some Nagas who are living in Manipur, some Nagas living in Arunachal, Assam. There seems to be, this is not the issue. The Parliamentary Standing Committee report is not on track. This is not about the Naga political issue. This is not about the Indo-Naga political affair. We thought they were discussing about a totally different thing. But we also discovered that they are also discussing about a nonsensical matter.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Now, let me go to Imphal. I have two more panelists in Kohima, but before that, let me go to Imphal. Mr. Khuraisam Athoba, the Government of India representatives had briefed the Parliamentary Standing Committee that the interstate border is not going to be changed. But they have said there will be special arrangements will be made for Nagas living outside Nagaland. Now, will that kind of an arrangement be acceptable? Because why is Manipur opposed to even this? Because the Government of India has told the Parliamentary Standing Committee that interstate borders are not going to be changed. Now, the special arrangements will be given to Nagas outside. The groups and organizations in Manipur seem to be opposing even this. Mr. Athoba.
It's not the question about changing the interstate boundary. The question is about what kind of special arrangement is that Government of India is going to make. Because Manipur, being a state, has existed as a nation for the last 2,000 years, and nobody can deny that. So we remain as one political entity, one historical
And of course, I
historical
may be
entity.
allowed to give way to
So-
this. I'm sorry for interrupting. But 2,000
It should
years
not be-
of
it should not
history,
be compromised.
we also
It
have
should not be
equal
compromised
history
in
of
any ways.
2,000 years as well. So
Special
let's not
arrangement
talk
can be
in
made,
that arrogant,
but
arrogant
provided
dominant,
it should not bypass the existing state
Yes,
government.
But yes, true. But
That's
Mr.
the,
Mr. Athoba, Mr.
wish of the
Athoba,
people of Manipur.
yes, Mr. Athoba, I get your point. But you know, the Government of India is saying, Government of India is making it clear that the interstate border is not going to be changed. But Nagas living in Manipur or outside in any other place outside Nagaland will have a special arrangement. So what is the problem in that?
That's what I'm telling. Special arrangement can be made. Special arrangement can be made, provided it should not bypass the existing state government and the assembly of the state of Manipur. That's what we said.
Okay.
Arrangements should be made.
Let
No issue.
me bring in Mr. Nisikant Sapam. Mr. Nisikant Sapam is the managing editor of the widely popular English daily Sangha Express. Mr. Nisikant, what are your thoughts? How do you look at it?
There's an audio delay anyway. I think the stakeholders, all the stakeholders have not been consulted. The Meiteis have been kept out. And if you go back to history, like my dear friend Athoba says, that we have a history of 2,000 years old. I can hear my voice in echo, so I'm a little slow. And then and I've been hearing this cliche of unique history of the Nagas. I'm sure they have a unique history, so do the Kabuis, so do the Tangkhul brothers. We also have a unique history. If you see our history, the Meiteis gave polo to the world, horse polo. You see, and then of course you look at the dance, which is world famous, and when the great country of India, when they market to India as a tourist destination, a lot of things that are shown are basically Manipuri dances and Manipuri Pungcholon. We have a martial arts called Thangta, which is derived, we have got the Thangta out of all the warfares and everything that we have had. We have a very unique history ourselves. And I don't,
Absolutely.
the
There is
Tangkhuls
a-
are our cousins, the Kabuis are our cousins. Wait, Mr. Wasbir, you go back pre-Hindu days, and we are all the same stock of people. pre-Christianity days, same stock of people. Even if, as my parents were Hindus and we worshipped Sanamahi, which is worshipped by the Kabuis also. I don't know why this divide comes in. There should be no divide. Whatever be the arrangement that is made, going to be made there,
I'll come
it
back
should not
to you.
harm
I'll come
any
back.
sentiments
I'll come back
of,
to you, Mr.
of the people here.
Absolutely.
There's too
Now,
much echo. I'm
now
not
the
able to speak
unique
very well.
history. Now the Nagas are also talking about their unique history, something which the government of India, according to this Parliamentary Standing Committee briefing, is supposed to have accepted. The government of India apparently has accepted their unique history, and you are saying, Mr. Nishikant and Mr. Athoba, the Manipuris and the Meiteis also have a unique history. So this is a debatable issue about the history. I'll not go
Everybody
into
has
that.
a unique history.
Absolutely.
And
But
Wasbir,
yes.
Wasbir,
Go ahead.
when people in Manipur, between the tribal brothers, when they communicate, they use our language. We are all brothers and brothers of the same stock.
So
of people.
the argument,
It's just that
I'll
the
come
divide
to
came
you.
about
I'll absolutely.
because of Hinduism
I'll
and
come to
Christianity.
I'll
It's
come
a
to you.
political divide.
I'll come
It's
to
a-
you. I'll come to you, Mr.
Why divide
Jacquier.
us? We are
I'll
all
come
together.
to Mr.
And like
Jacquier and
Athoba
Eluna
said,
Dang.
one second.
Yes.
We got our freedom. We were a free country with this boundary of Manipur.
Now,
And with this-
absolutely. Now, let me
And
bring
if
in.
there were any ethnic
just hold your
clashes, they were
thoughts.
never because
Let
of
me-
ethnic this thing.
Let
They were
me
all
bring in Mr.
instigated
Nengulo
by
Crome.
different kind of
Just hold your
forces.
thoughts. Hold your thoughts. I'll come back to you, Mr. Nisikant. Let me bring in Mr. Nengulo Crome, the Secretary General of the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights. Mr. Crome, first of all, are you beginning to get concerned that it is taking so much time to reach the Naga peace agreement? Mr. Crome.
Yes. Yes, we are really beginning to get concerned. It has taken much longer than anyone would have anticipated. And at this rate, we are not very confident of what the outcome may look like.
Okay. Now there is still not much of clarity, Mr. Crome. What do you want the center to do now? Parliamentary Consultative Committee 2 observed that there has been a delay and in fact asked the government of India to expedite reaching the agreement. Mr. Crome, there doesn't seem to be much of a clarity yet.
Well, basically, we want that there should be some kind of solution, whatever it is, and it should not continue, it should not prolong on one pretext or the other, because that has been happening after every few years on the pretext that election is around the corner or on this or the other pretext. The same thing happened with Congress government.
Right.
And the same thing is now happening with the BJP government with elections around the corner in 2019. So we are losing our expectations and we're also losing our hope that government of India, whether government of India really mean to bring some kind of an honorable settlement.
Okay, I'll quickly go to Mr. Teza There, Chairman Media Cell of the Nagaland Tribes Council. Mr. There, you know, now at this point in time, the sense I'm getting is that the Naga areas integration issue and the special arrangement for Nagas, these are the two contentious issues. You know, will this be the most difficult thing to resolve, the integration of the Naga areas in the Northeast? Mr. There.
Yeah, definitely. Mr. Wasbir, let me just go to the background. We are not privy to the negotiation. At the same time, whatever is in the process, we are not directly privy to that. But we believe at this point of time, the NNPGs and Government of India, the negotiation has reached a very advanced stage, and we believe that Government of India have understood and also appreciate and accept the political and historical right of the Nagas. At the same time, the negotiation parties, they have also appreciated and understood the position of the Government of India. This is the time where we have understood each other. We have decided that we will work out on contemporary basis how to peacefully coexist as different entities.
Right.
So definitely this integration issue is one thing that has to take place through democratic means. And I'm for sure that this chapter will never be closed. It is kept alive, but this has to go through the democratic process. And we believe that negotiation parties will definitely do
Okay.
something
Now-
which is good for the
Now,
Nagas.
Yeah. Now,
that it will be
Mr.
acceptable.
Mayur Bora, what sense are you making? You have heard the panelists from Manipur also talking about the unique history of the people in Manipur. They say that the Kabui Nagas and the Tangkhuls are their cousins. They communicate in the same language, and the Nagas, of course, are talking and insisting on their unique history, something which is supposed to have been recognized by the government of India. So now, do you think this is going to be the most contentious issue? And symbolic issues are not at all an issue problem, but these are very, very sensitive issues.
You are very, very right. I have listened to both of them, both the parties, with abiding sense of interest. And as a student of history, I am increasingly being fascinated by the histories being dished out from both the sides. We must remember one thing: history is always, all histories are unique, all histories are beautiful, but we should not lose sight of the fact that history is a contested territory. So with equal empathy and respect for both the groups, let me say only two things. When we talk about this stalemate being ended with some sort of initiative, we must not forget one thing, that somehow geography and interstate boundary have become so sacrosanct, it has been inextricably interlinked with the sentiments of the people. So there is one point. Second point is, let us not be dismissive about the spatial arrangement before government lays it on the table for all other people to see.
Wait for the spatial
Yes.
I have to go for a break, but very quickly, Mr. Kuraiza Mathoba, why are we not waiting for the spatial arrangements to be actually spelled out? Mr. Kuraiza Mathoba, why should we not wait for the spatial arrangements to be spelled out?
No, before coming to any kind of special arrangement, the government of India needs to, consult every stakeholders first, because we don't believe in the policy of the government of India first. Why? Because the very report which you have mentioned about, the 213th Parliamentary Standing Committee reports on Home Affairs, where when the reports define itself at the very beginning, when they introduced Manipur, it has been wrongly quoted.
Yep.
They said there is a bias interpretation of the definition of Manipur, where they say like the Meiteis occupy the 25% of the land, which is totally false. We don't occupy 25% of the land. The valley area comprises of only 8% of the area of Manipur. And this very 8%, all the other communities, so-called Nagas, Kukis, and those from the mainstream India are also being settled here. We have more than 90 Nagas and Kukis colonies in the valley itself, not less than 2 lakh population. So it has to be addressed here. But very bluntly, the report is simply said that 25% of the land area has been occupied by the Meiteis, and this is the most fertile area.
I'll come back.
That kind of,
I'll go for a short break now.
Naga will not solve anything.
I will go for a short break
So,
now.
the
Mr.
sincerity
Nishikant, bear with
one
me.
last point.
I'll
One
come
last
back
point.
to you, Mr. Nishikant, after this very, very short break and take this discussion forward. Welcome back. I'll go straight to Mr. Jakie Kate. Jakie, our panelists in Imphal are basically saying, the panelists in Manipur are basically saying, okay, they have no problem with the spatial arrangement, but it should not surpass or go beyond the jurisdiction of the state government. Don't you think it's a fair point to make, or do you have an alternate view? Jakie?
Before I actually come to the point to answer your question, I think it will be fair to go back to our history, where how Nagaland state was created in 1963, when Nagaland state was created out of the then Assam, and of course Nagaland was the only state that was born out of political agreement through a political arrangement in India.
Yeah.
And of course, when Nagaland was created, a small tiny portion of the state was given to the state, of the so-called state of Nagaland. And some Nagas were made to be placed in other area in Manipur, as well as later on, subsequently to Arunachal, to the rest of the state. So that is the genesis. That was the problem. It was Indian government that divided Nagas in the first place.
No, but
now we are
but
at a point where we are
Jackie,
trying to find a
answer this
solution.
question. Are you then saying that, since you are saying that a small part of territory was given, are you saying that now it should be expanded? Are you on an expansionist campaign right now? Is this what you are saying?
I'm not an expansionist. I'm not an expansionist, and I'm not claiming that either. But I think the fact of the matter of the truth remains that there is no greater Nagaland, or there is no smaller Nagaland as well. There is only Nagaland. And you cannot deny the fact that there are Nagas in Manipur and Arunachal and Assam. I think the answer is as simple as that.
But there are,
to deny the fact, or
there
to
are Nagas in
deny
Myanmar
that
as
fact,
well.
saying that
there
you will
are
not
Nagas
allow-
in Myanmar as well. That does it mean that you will also claim part of Myanmar as well?
Wasbir, may I come in?
No. Yes, come in. Feel free to come in. Yes.
Yes, internationally, according to
See, Wasbir, I'll tell you.
internationally speaking,
please,
and
Manipur
of
got
course,
freedom.
nationally
We were a
speaking, Nagas are
independent
very
nation
much in Myanmar, in
for 2
Arunachal,
years.
in Assam, in Nagaland, and in Manipur.
Yes, carry on. Nishikant, carry
Wasbir,
on.
may I please speak?
Yes, carry on.
You see, Manipur was when Manipur was an independent nation. Manipur was an independent nation, and this boundary of Manipur was never gifted by India. We joined India. We were annexed in 1949. This boundary of Manipur was never gifted to us by anybody. It was there since 2000 years. So that is one issue. And the other one is that in trying to solve one problem, the government of India must be very careful that they do not create, 100 or 1,000 more problems. You have to look at all the parties concerned. I don't think we were a part of this whole talk. We were not represented well. Therefore, my friend Khurajam says that there are a lot of errors in whatever this standing committee has, the report that they have given.
Lots of error.
They're full of error. If you go back to the real history, the folklore and the history, the Tangkhuls, the Meiteis and the Kabuis were all brothers. And if you look at the closeness among these three
let me clarify.
tribes,
Let me clarify to you,
hold on.
Nishikant.
I am saying the Kabus are far closer to us than they are closer to any tribe in Nagaland.
Let me tell you, Nishikant, we need not take that parliamentary committee report so seriously. Idea is to discuss on the issue. We are discussing the issue.
Absolutely.
We are not taking that report seriously. We are just picking up a few points from that report and generally discussing the Naga problem. Now,
all I will say is may good sense prevail. May good sense prevail.
May good sense
and nobody
prevail,
should be hurt.
Nobody can deny
But
that.
this report,
May good sense
we
prevail.
should not be victimized. This parliamentary committee report, Mr. Wasbir, these parliamentary standing committee reports should not victimize the Meiteis.
Absolutely.
Or
No, it cannot.
any
It
people
cannot.
in
This
Manipur.
is just a committee
It's
report.
a union government report. It cannot be simple. But it's a union government report. It cannot be simply said that whatever misinforms can be simply avoided.
That is a recommendatory authority. Let us not debate on the committee report right now. I'll quickly go to Mr. Teza Theri, your chief minister. Mr. Theri, the Nagaland chief minister, Mr. Nefurio, on his Independence Day speech, said that his government supports the demand of the Naga people for integration of the Naga areas into one administrative unit. Now, my question to you, Mr. Theri, will it be, and he has also demanded support from the neighboring states, will it be so easy for the neighboring states to extend support? Mr. Theri.
Yeah, the relationship between the Nagas from the Naga contiguous area, our relationship is important, and that is the core issue. We want to live together under one umbrella. That is our desire, our aspiration. At the same time, our relationship with our neighboring states is equally important. They are our neighbors, and that is timeless. We have to work out in such a way that we will have peace and peaceful coexistence with our neighbors. So definitely, in the democratic system of India, there will be sufficient room for us to express our desire, and there's a sufficient room for us also to meet our aspiration.
Yeah.
And we believe this chapter, Government of India or anybody cannot close.
Okay,
but this is a process.
Mr.
which has to be
Khuraisam, I
allowed.
think Teza Theri of the Naga Tribes Council, you must admit, is making a very nuanced argument. He says that, you know, Nagas have the desire to live together. Neighbors are also important. Indian constitution, Indian system has enough room for maneuver. We have to work out a solution. Why do you think a solution cannot be worked out? Are you so pessimistic, Mr. Khuraisam?
Yeah, solution is there. Solution is there. But before coming to that point, let me tell you this. The very gentleman from the Naga Tribe Council.
Mr. Terry.
See, on August 21 media reports, Mr. Terry, on 21 August media reports, there is a denial of 3 medical students from Senapati who are being considered as Nagas. And in their press statement, they have told that the Nagas of Senapati districts are not indigenous Nagas of Nagaland. So, is there any variation between these two Nagas? Why do they have to mention such terms like indigenous Nagas and non-indigenous Nagas?
Wasbir?
That's first point. Another point is, this very solution, if we want to come to a solution, then the different stakeholders of the region, northeastern region especially, we need to sit together and find out solutions at our own
Yes, that
first.
is the moot point.
We need
Nishikant,
to,
the need of the
make
hour. I'll come to
certain
you,
issues and
Elunadang.
policies first.
I'll come to
If
you,
that happens,
Elunadang.
then
Nishikant,
Government
why
of
can't
India
you sit together? Why
has
can't
no
you
role
sit
to play
together?
in restoring peace or
Wasbir,
whatever thing.
Wasbir.
No, Nishikant,
Wasbir.
Nishikant, I have a specific,
Wasbir,
I have a
Wasbir,
pointed question
Wasbir.
to you. No, I can hear you, Nishikant. I have a pointed question to you, Nishikant.
Okay.
Do you think the civil society has no role? What about the civil society in Manipur? Have you made any effort to talk to the Naga civil society? Is there a way out? How to sit together and move forward? Mr. Nishikant.
Absolutely. We must sit together and move forward. Okay. There are certain facts which cannot be diluted. For example, Manipur having its own boundary and all that. You see, when the Naga brothers say that we are Naga inhabited area under one umbrella, what about tomorrow? There will be situations where some Manipuris will come up, Meiteis will come up and say, what about the Meitei dominated areas? For example, in Kasar district, in Lakhimpur, in Tripura, Hosai, so many places. You know, it leaves. You see, when you try to solve a problem like this, there will be too many problems cropping up. The government of India must be very careful. It's a very emotive issue.
No,
There are
Wasbir,
Meiteis
if
all
you
over the place.
Allow me to come
Yes.
in. Actually, see, everyone is talking about sense, everyone is talking about importance of having peace and good brotherly relation with the neighbors. But even then this problem has come. Why? There is a situation like this, as if the gentleman from this side is not trusting adequately the other. I think main blame goes to some extent to Government of India, because the whole process has been too long and it has been conducted in a hush-hush way.
Yes.
So there is absolutely no transparency, no clarity, and confusion has become the defining trait of the whole process. And
Now-
because of that today,
Right.
Manipur
Now-
and Nagaland,
now, Mr.
civil
Right.
society has not been
Jackie,
able to
that
play
is
a role
because-
as
Yes.
sufficiently
Jackie,
expected
feel
from
free
them.
to come in.
That is
Jackie and
because the
Elunadang,
stakeholders were
feel
not
free to come
the
in,
concerned
Jackie.
stakeholders were not consulted.
Jackie, feel free to come in. Elunadang, what do you have to say? Because our panelists in Manipur are saying tomorrow, if some Meiteis demand areas in Assam's Kachar district, Hujai, even parts of Guwahati, then what happens? Mr. Elunadang and Jackie, how do you counter
Tripura.
this argument? How do you counter this argument, Jackie and Elunadang? Jackie, what do you think? Have you
I'm
heard?
not sure how they will be able to claim that. I'm also not sure whether that is possible or not, because that is none of my business. Of course not. But I don't think that is. We don't need to bring in some dreamy ideas about to start a process like that just for a mere discussion
Wasbir,
or.
let me
That's not
come in.
creamy idea.
Wasbir, let
for
me come in.
argument. I
Wasbir,
think,
Feel
Meiteis
free,
speak
come
the
in.
same
That's too
language,
dreamy.
same everything.
The Meiteis,
The
you know,
Kapui brothers and the Tangkhul brothers use our language to speak.
Meitei
This is not
settles
what-
in Assam since 1819. Remember this, 1819, during the 7 years devastation.
Like I said, when you try to solve a problem, let there be more. Let there not be more problems cropping up. The government of India must be careful. May good sense prevail.
And at that time, India
Okay.
don't even exist.
Ilunadang, the question
you
is,
seems- it appears,
we are talking about the Naga integration issue. Now, our panelists in Manipur are saying that what happens? Suppose the Meiteis demand areas in Kachar district of Assam, okay, we want to live together. The same argument may be given by the Meiteis. What happens then? This is the question being posed. What is your answer? How do you respond?
And why not? And why not?
No, let him respond. Elunadang, what is your response?
See, Wasbir, Wasbir, you see, the land, territorial boundary, when we talk about this issue, I think it is not proper for us to be discussing on this, because it is the responsibility of the government of India to decide what is best solution for the Naga people. Why make the neighboring states and the Nagas to fight over this? No amount of argument put forth by the people of Manipuris will not solve this problem. If the government of India is serious enough, it is their responsibility to say what is black, what is white. Call a spade a spade. Why do we argue over this? And by having a debate on these inter-boundary issues, there is not going to be any solution. Why is the government of India laughing, looking at us, having a debate over this among the various communities? We should not do this. And
Yes,
No, but Wasbir, abdicating everything for government of India, that they will come and good sense will prevail. Because we have seen post-independence
Yes.
as far as Northeast is
Yes,
concerned.
yes.
There is always a sincerity deficit in
Why do
respect
they
of
go back
different
to
parties
2000
that
years
have
of
ruled us
history?
from Delhi.
Is it
So I think civil
trust
society
deficit,
has
trust,
to,
civil
civil society has to
realize the
regain its
uniqueness of
role
Nagas.
to play a
Nishikant.
Realize the
constructive
history
role
of
That is
Nagas.
also
in
one
both
valid
the
point.
Nagaland and Manipur
Civil
and all the
society,
affected
civil
parties.
society is not playing a
If
role.
we keep on debating
Nishikant.
on this, on
We
the
cannot
territorial
abdicate everything
boundaries,
for government of
there
India.
is not going to be any solution.
Yes. Wasbir, pre-Hindu days, what were we, Meiteis? We were also the same stock of people. We also tried. Then by that measure, let us say we had not become Hindus, we would be Nagas also. By the definition of Nagas, the the Kabuis and the Tangkhuls becoming Nagas, we would have also been Nagas had we not been Hindus.
Okay, now everybody is talking. Let me bring in Teja Terry, which patiently listening. Teja, yes, Mr. Teja Terry. Everybody is saying that Mr. Elunadang is saying that government of India has to decide what is black and what is white. I'll come to you, Jakie. I'm coming to you, Jakie. But Mr. Teja Terry, are you not concerned at the delay? 100 rounds of talks since 1997, and yet we don't seem to be anywhere near a solution. Mr. Terry, are you a worried man? Mr. Terry.
Yeah, definitely. Enough is enough. They have already discussed and they have taken such a pretty long time. It is now time for them to come to a logical conclusion. And definitely they should be able to work out a mechanism through which our solution may be just a process. And
Now
we have
you
to
know.
allow that to happen.
Yeah. Now you see, we have the panelists in Manipur now, but there are a lot of Naga MLAs in Manipur, elected representatives, Nagas in Manipur. What should be their role? At some point of time, we hear organizations in Nagaland saying that the Naga MLAs must resign because Manipur is even opposed to the special arrangement for the Nagas there. So what do you think? Should the Naga MLAs in Manipur resign and support the demand of the Naga people? Mr. Terry.
Yeah, the Manipur government have their own right to be apprehensive, and they have to be prepared to protect themselves. At the same time, our solution should not be considered as something against the interests of the citizens of Manipur state. And definitely there has to be a mechanism where even the government of Manipur should appreciate the reality.
No, my question was on the Naga MLAs, whether they should resign. What do you think? I want a clear answer.
Definitely the Naga MLAs have to stand with the people, with the Nagas. because our cause is always first.
Wasbir,
And I believe they will respect the sentiment of the people.
Wasbir,
Yes. Yes. Nishikant.
Wasbir, may
Yes.
I come in?
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
If a decision is taken which hurts the sentiments of the people in Manipur, the politicians will have to leave the state and run away and go into hiding. You know what happened in 2001, June 18th? There was a small trailer. You know, some of the politicians were kicked around. So what I'm trying to say is that may good sense prevail, that while trying to solve the solution, let there not crop many more problems. You know?
Mr. Nishikant,
that-
you,
But I think we
you
should
should
not
be aware
invoke
of.
those memories
Yeah.
all the
You
time.
ask any politician.
I think the atmosphere can be vitiated if we invoke those memories all the time. My respect and appeal to the gentlemen on both
No,
the
no, no, we
sides.
don't want to
that
vitiate
since
the-
you yourselves
we are
are
saying
telling
that
about the better sense to prevail, I think we should avoid. That's my earnest request to you. Avoid this kind of things. I think this may further
absolutely. I
jeopardize and
agree, I
endanger the
agree,
problem.
I agree.
yes, so what Mayur Bora, a well-known writer and commentator, is basically saying, Nishikant, is that we should not all the time invoke the past, and we should be hopeful that a negotiated, acceptable solution on both sides will be taken place.
No.
But
People are very
but
anxious here.
people are anxious. I think the Métis are anxious, the Nagas are anxious as well, isn't it?
We are also anxious to
we
some
are
extent.
also anxious.
Everybody.
Even entire Northeast
Yes,
is
yes,
anxious.
absolutely.
I think the country is anxious. Don't you agree? Jakie, everyone is anxious, isn't it? Jakie.
Yeah.
I don't think country is anxious.
Northeast is anxious.
Yeah, that's
Northeast
true.
could
I
be
also
anxious,
agree.
but, country
Okay,
has
at
Not
least,
to that extent,
at least
yeah.
we agree. Jakie,
Yes.
what do you think,
I think,
Jakie? Is the country anxious or not? Can you hear me, Jakie?
I think as
Yes.
much as
Yes, Jakie, yes.
Half the country doesn't even know where Imphal is.
Very right.
As well when it comes to this issue. Can you hear me?
And yes, Jakie, I can hear you. Carry on.
As Métis has, I think equally
Okay.
Nagas also have that.
Now, you know, but at the end of the day,
As much fear as an apprehension as Métis has, I think equally Nagas also have that when it comes to this issue.
right. Now, let me go to Mr. Nengulo Krome. Mr. Krome, the state boundaries, state boundaries will not be changed. That is what the government of India is telling the committee. But Nagas will get a special status. Now, this is the problem. We are coming back and forth, and ultimately we are coming to the same question, Mr. Krome. This is a very crucial issue. Well, how do you break this logjam, Mr. Negulo Krome?
Now, in the first place, when you look at the agreement, when the ceasefire first started, you can recall the three conditions. These three conditions are that the agreement will be without any conditions in the first place.
Yeah.
And secondly, it is at the prime minister level.
Yeah.
And the third agreement says that it will be between the talks will be held in a third country. When it is third country, it means that Nagaland and India is two countries, and third country is outside Nagaland or India. Now, when that kind of an honorable agreement took place in the first place, after 21 years, why do we have to come back to the question of an internal kind of conflict? I think that is going back from its word. So wherever Nagas are, outside present Nagaland or inside present Nagaland, the land and the Nagas belong to each other as indigenous people. And we have never borrowed anybody's land, and we have never even demanded anybody's land. So I think the parliamentary committee is misbriefed or is trying to misguide the government of India.
Okay, I mean, Jakie, if you can hear me, but if you are saying that the land belongs to the Nagas, so if land belongs to the Nagas, so we should accept that. But my question is, you have Nagas living in Myanmar as well, so how do you deal with this question, Jakie? I think Jakie is not on the line. this argument, Ms. Nishikant, how do you respond to this argument that the land belongs to the Nagas? We are not trying to borrow anybody's land.
I would disagree with that. People in Manipur all know that we were an independent nation. The boundary of Manipur was not given by India or anyone. We were an independent nation for 2 years. In 1949, we were annexed, and we all lived with all peace and harmony here. This belongs to Manipur. The Tangkhul brothers are our brothers. The Kabuis are our brothers. We are the same stock of people. You look back history, pre-Christianity days and pre-Hindu days.
And we even have same place of origin.
And
we still have the caves.
So
And
the
Laharauba,
argument,
Wasbir in
very
Laharauba,
interesting argument
becoming completed
that
without
the
the Tangkhuls.
Metis and
Without
the
the-
Nagas
the same
are
sort
from
of
the
people.
same stock.
See, Wasbir,
That is-
first
that
of
is
all,
the
history
argument.
is contested.
We are brothers.
And history, when mixed with
Same,
tradition,
completely.
myth, and also anthropology, the same
worship
stock
the
of
same-
people,
Kabuis
it becomes
and Meiteis
further
worship the same
complicated.
God.
And I think with this kind of thing, we
Sanamahi.
all agree the government of India is not very serious about the whole problem of Northeast. It is nothing but a box which needs to be ticked.
Government
the
of
Naga
India did
problem
not
has
do
been
its
solved,
homework. The
on which all
stakeholders
the
were
people
never
are agreeing.
consulted.
So
Only
it
one part
means
of the
that
stakeholders were
ultimately we will
consulted.
not be able to solve the problem, and it will remain as intractable a problem as we have been facing in last 21 years. That is the sad reality staring on the face
Because
of
the
all
government of
people of
India
Northeast
did
now.
not do its homework properly. They did a shoddy work.
Now, Theza theory,
Actually,
again, Theza theory, lack of transparency by both sides. The government of India is not telling the people anything. The negotiating parties, in this case, the NSC and IM is also not telling anything at all to the people. So it's adding to the confusion. People don't know what is there contained in the
People
framework
are in Manipur
agreement.
in the dark.
Keeping everybody in the dark, Mr. Terry.
Absolutely.
Mr. Terry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely a lack of transparency is there. At the same time, the public cannot be completely in the knowledge of what is on the negotiation table. We have given our support, we have given our mandate to some people, a political group, to negotiate with government of India. So we have to wait and see. And it is the groups who should take people on board, who should take people into confidence.
No, but Wasbir,
But
waiting and
I would like to go
there has to be
desperately
some
to Elu Nadang and Jakie.
But there has to be an end to this. See, when you may not involve all the people because it is going to vitiate the atmosphere, and proper atmosphere for negotiation may not take place. But when all the time, if you say inordinately that we are not going to keep the people informed, then I think this kind of problem, the very seed of the problem that we have seen now is very much in the lack of transparency and lack of clarity that has accompanied the whole process of Naga peace process for last many years. And that is the reason. That's why we are sitting here and distrusting each other and trying to create a situation in which no sunlight is there at the end of the tunnel. I am very sorry to say that, but this is the state of the fact now.
Okay, on that note, I'll go for a short break, but don't go away. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Negulu Chrome, at the end of the day, again, after all these discussions, we come back to the same thing. Now, if the Naga integration issue is removed, I think the accord is going to be signed very soon. That is the most contentious issue. Nobody seems to be able to reach a solution or acceptable agreement on this issue, Chrome, Naga integration issue.
Correct, that's correct. But when you look at the intent of the Manipur or the people in Manipur, actually I think Nagas have no conflict with them. And in the first place, I don't think they also had conflict with us. But over the years, when the agreement started and when we were living together, I think things were quite okay. But over the years, more in the recent times, the intentions of the people of Manipur and the government of Manipur, especially after Ibobi became the chief minister, I think the whole thing, the relationship has been twisted out of turn. So the people in Manipur will oppose anything that has to do with Nagas. That is their intention. So if the two sides two parties in an agreement cannot go beyond these borders, and if they are stuck with some people's intent to disturb the peace process at any cost, then that means there is no sincerity on either parts of the parties. So we have to look beyond the, disagreement of one party, which is not even in the, negotiation.
Right.
So I feel that both the government of India and the Naga people who are negotiating should not be caught at because of some opposition, whether it is in Manipur, Assam, Arunachal, or Burma, whatever. But they should be sincere enough to overcome those hurdles and take a political will. And only a political will bring some kind of an honorable solution.
Now, Nengulo,
So-
now I want to bring in Khuraizam. Khuraizam, you have heard the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights leader, Negulo Krome, basically saying that it's been politicized. The Nagas had no problem with the Manipuris and the Meiteis had no problem with the Nagas, but it was politics that has vitiated the atmosphere. Do you buy this argument, Mr. Khuraizam?
No. It's not about politics. It's more about the sincerity of Government of India in restoring peace in the entire region of Northeast, number one. Number two, when the state of Nagaland has a very greedy mindset in with an idea of expanding the area of Nagaland to the neighboring states with a nomenclature called Nagas. That is also an issue. But when it comes to the ground situation, actual situation, it's the apprehension of the people of Manipur that Manipur should not be divided or disintegrated in the name of any communities or ethnic line. That's the main issue. If that is not to be happen, then any kind of solutions, any kind of special arrangement for the Naga brothers in any part of the Manipur, it's acceptable.
Now, Nishikant, how do we? Okay, I have heard both the arguments, and this debate can go on and on, but we have very limited time. Nishikant, how do we move forward then? What is the way ahead? Yes, we know the argument. Let's not go into history again. How to move forward now?
I think, okay. Love and trust must prevail between us. And we have to remember that Tangkhuls are our brothers, the Kabuis are our brothers. As for me, when I go to Delhi and I meet a Tangkhul a brother or a sister,
but then
they always say, well, I say, are you Manipuri? They say, no, I'm a Naga. No. What I'm trying to say is that love must prevail. Look at the valley. The valley has a lot of Tangkhuls and Kabuis living here. And we are all intermarried. They have Manipuri, Meitei wives or husbands and vice versa.
But
we are all living very happily.
I have a simple question. I have a simple question to you. Let us be clear cut because we don't have that kind of time. Nishikant, you are talking about you are not using the word Naga. You are saying Tangkhuls, Kabuis and so on. But my question is, have these communities
absolutely
we are also
listen to me. People
have
these
Hindu days have these communities come up with clear-cut statements saying that we want to live within Manipur, we have nothing to do with the Naga peace accord, we don't want to join Nagaland. Have they ever come up with that kind of a statement?
You see, if you talk to the Tangkhuls and the Kabuis living in Bengal, they are not interested.
Off record. If you discuss it
off record, like
if it comes on public,
then they're all scared.
It's a different thing.
They all scared.
The Meiteis are 53% of the population. The Naga brothers are 20% of the population. And if we are going to be left with a value which is 8%, you look at Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh, Rajput is a very, it's a high caste which is high in the hierarchy of the Hindus. When you are born in Himachal, even if you are a Rajput, you can buy land anywhere. Himachal is a completely hilly area.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere we are being unfairly treated,
Okay. Now,
Himachal is also part of India.
Let me bring in Ilu Nadang. Our line was disconnected for a very long time. Mr. Ilu Nadang, if you can hear me, our panelists, esteemed panelists from Manipur, they are basically saying that they are using the term Kabuis, they are using Tangkhuls. they're not using the term Nagas. They have a valid reason for that, which Nisikant has explained. I will not go into that. My question
Because
is,
we are the same stock of people.
My question is, Elunadang, have the Nagas groups from Manipur, have they made it extremely clear that they would like to get out of Manipur and join Nagaland? Can you hear me, Mr. Elunadang? Or if Jakie can hear me, Jakie, why don't you answer this question? Jakie.
Yes, yes.
Jakie, yes. Jakie, answer the question. We are losing time.
See, Wasbir, if I can come
Yeah,
in,
come
when
in.
the whole process has been characterized by lack of transparency, lack of clarity, as well as sincerity deficit on the part of Government of India, which all the parties have agreed. Now the Naga gentlemen or the participants, panelists are telling that you are not trusting us adequately, but the process has been going on so long that you have difficulty, anyone will have difficulty to trust them fully. Whereas the Manipuri gentlemen, panelists, they are telling or accusing the Nagas of having some expansionist design. So it is bound to happen when you leave everything to the government. Our appeal, and I think your appeal is that you bring back civil society to the mainstream, and ultimately people's lives will be affected, Government of India or state government. They are not going to be affected as
At the end of the
deeply
day,
as people are.
If Jakie, can you hear me? Jakie, you can you or can you not hear me? Jakie, I think we should disconnect the line and try once again, one last time.
Your voice
to
is
Jakie and Elunadang. Okay, Mr. Thezateri, coming back to this issue, I mean, how to get rid of this integration issue? Cannot the NSC and IM remove their demand or reduce the demand for integration of Naga areas? Why do you think Chief Minister Nefurio has once again, lent his support behind this integration demand? Mr. Terry.
Yeah, we cannot go into the details of the negotiation, the competency. It is for the negotiation parties to work out whatever is possible at the moment. And we also believe that Government of India, at the same time the negotiation parties, they have to have a mutual respect. And nobody can impose anything on each other. They have to mutually accept, and that can also only be the agreement.
Okay. Now we will try once again. We'll keep trying. Jakie, the line has been very disturbing today to Kohima. Now question is, how, this Naga integration issue seems to be holding the Naga peace process hostage. My question is, can there be an alternative to this issue? Do you think Mr. Nefurio has supported this? Do you think it will lead to further opposition from the neighboring states and the peace process is further going to be delayed? Do you think so? Okay, no, we have wasted valuable time there. Negulo Chrome, I would like to come to you. I mean, again, lot of people, your colleague is saying, Thezateri said that Naga MLS should remain within the assembly in Manipur and not resign. What do you think? What should be the role of the Naga MLAs in Manipur at this juncture? How to break this deadlock? The civil society is not coming forward. Civil society in Manipur and Nagaland, we have not seen any dialogue. We are only saying the Government of India should do. What do you think, Mr. Nengulo Krome?
No, many people think that resignation is an honorable way of supporting the cause. But to me, they should not resign. They should be in the assembly and they should speak as an honorable MLS. They should speak for the people, both for the Nagas as well of the people of Manipur whom they represent. So they should speak in a manner that everybody will have some kind of agreement at the end of everything. And I think right now they're not able to speak courageous enough, and maybe they feel outnumbered or whatever. But I think
yes,
instead of resigning, they should play their role as people's representative more effectively.
We should not give up, and I'll ask my producers not to give up trying to Jakie and Elu Nadang. Keep disconnecting the line and trying, because this is how the telecommunication scene in the Northeast is. We should not be surprised at that. You know,
Wasbir, let me come in.
Mr. Yes, Khuraizam, yes. Yes, Khuraizam, go ahead.
First of all, let me put up like this. We need to segregate two things very, very clearly. Number one, any kind of politically motivated propaganda should be removed from this discussion, number one. Secondly, only the real issues from those who are concerned to restore peace has to be addressed sincerely and honestly. That's the first point. And when it comes to the nephew Rio's statement on the Independence Day regarding the integration of Naga contiguous areas or whatever, let me remind you that some days back, before the election, I think, he himself declared that the integration of Naga inhabited areas is not possible now. And because of that statement, NSNIM himself have also released a reactive statement against his statement on that time. And now when he becomes the chief minister, again now he is telling about, integrating the Naga contiguous areas or whatever. So this kind of political statements should never be taken into account.
I cannot understand one thing. We should not be surprised that politicians will try to politicize everything. That is a different issue. That is their business. You know it, I know it. But my question is, civil society like United Committee Manipur, you are an influential civil society, and Naga Hoho and others are also very influential civil societies. What steps have you taken to take this issue forward, break the logjam? You simply giving statements will not help, Khuraizam.
Nice question. No. Very good question. Yes, we have been communicating with the ex-Naga leaders from time to time, and we are trying to bridge the gap. We are trying to bridge the gap between us, and the talks is going on. And
no, what do you mean by ex? What do you mean by ex-Naga leaders? No, Khuraizam, what do you mean by ex-Naga leaders? Why are you not contacting the present Naga leaders?
No, it's not up to us. It's not up to us. It's up to them, because communication has been made through ex-leaders only. So we are communicating through them.
Okay.
And when times come, definitely there is also invitation for meeting the active leaders also. So we will be definitely going through that. And once we come to a consensual, amicable solutions and settlements, Mr. R.N. Ravi will be jobless, and he has nothing to do in this part, because we need to resolve it within us.
Mr. Nisikant, let me ask this question. Mr. Nisikant, you are not an activist. You are the managing editor of one of the leading English dailies. My question is, why do you think the civil society on both sides, both the states, have not been able to really talk to each other, talk their hearts out, discuss the issue? Whether it leads to a solution or not is a different matter. Whether we can resolve the issue or not is a different matter. But why don't we see the two sides really talking, really engaged in dialoguing? Nishikant.
I think
we have initiated.
I think it has been too politicized, and therefore these talks have been very difficult to happen. And what has been laid on the table, for example, Naga inhabited areas and all, you see the Kabui, Tangkhul and the Naga in Manipur, they are 20%. And we are left with 10%, 53% of the population. It's not fair, So it's like, well, whatever is happening with the government of India and the Nagas is very good for them. and we are the receiving end. It's like hunting is a very good sport.
Wasbir, one thing I have observed, that civil society, we must have got the courage to admit that we have to pull up our socks and do our duty in a much more intensified way. But I am surprised to see, it is bewildering to see that civil society groups, whatever limited efforts they have made, they have also been bitten by the secrecy code, and the people are not telling actually with whom they are talking. If the government of India, which I am criticizing, because the methods they have employed, we should not try to imitate that.
Mr. Nisikant is saying that civil society is not talking because the issue is politicized.
No, what Mr. Kuraiza was telling.
How does it matter if the issue is politicized?
Matter will be politicized.
If it is a political issue, it will be
we can't help
politicized.
it. We can't help it. But that doesn't mean that we leave everything
That's
to the
why I
politician.
said
We leave them to
All those
further
politically
vitiate the
motivated
atmosphere. We'll
interests,
try to
vested
reclaim the
interests should be
situation. That should be the will of the civil society. We'll try
Keep
to
aside from
reclaim.
this
But there is no harm in
Politicians
trying.
should be kept off.
Is
things will work
Jakia
fine.
online or not? Is Jakia and Nilu Nadang, are they online?
I am online,
Oh,
but
yes,
I can
yes,
hear your
Jack-
voice, but I cannot hear the rest of the panelists' voices.
You speak. My question to you, Jakia, is this. Why are the civil society on both sides, Nagaland and Manipur, not talking? A panelist from Manipur said that the issue is too politicized, so the civil society talks are not happening. But I am not buying that argument. Jakia, what do you think? Why is the Naga civil society not trying to talk to the Meitei civil society? Jakia?
The Naga civil societies and I think Manipuri Meitei civil societies in different level, I think in elderly level as well as in organizational level as well, they have been, I mean, there are also instances where people used to interact. And I have also been to some events where some elders were discussing issues and challenges that are confronting both the Meitei Valley as well as the Naga Hills, both in Nagaland as well as Manipur. And I understand that there are also different channels where Meitei society as well as Naga society are talking as well. But it appears that there are some elements within the Naga society as well, admittedly, and also in Meitei society, which are trying to destabilize the initiative that are being undertaken by some people for cordial relationship and to further to normalize the situation that has polarized the Naga society as well as the Meitei society. But obviously, yes, there are some people who are trying to do that. And of course, in the Naga society as well, among the Naga civil societies, some people are taking keen interest to interact with the Meitei society.
But unfortunately, that is not happening. Elu Nadang, if you can hear me, what are your thoughts on this? Why is the civil society dialogue not progressing? Elu Nadang.
Yeah, it is, if we have to say that Naga civil societies and Meitei civil societies have not been working, I think it is a total denial of facts, because Nagas, particularly living in Manipur, they have been initiating various forms of dialogues under the aegis of United Naga Council or ANSAM or Tribal Students United Manipur. And even in the recent there have been groups of people working, trying to bring about understanding among the Meiteis and the Nagas, because whatever maybe at the end of the day we remain as a neighbor. Therefore, the effort of the Nagas are very much there. I do not know what is the response or how do the people of Meiteis reciprocate to the approaches of the Nagas. But definitely there is an approach. There is a process from the Naga.
It's very cordial. We are part of it.
And Wasbir, in addition to that, I think there are many weaknesses that and limitations that Nagas are unable to take forward because of that. And also on the other side, I feel the dominant attitude which the Meitei, especially in various discussions, in various forums where they have a sense of the dominance, where they talk about 2,000 years of history as if there is no existence of Nagas in Manipur. There is no, the identity, the situation
That's
of
a fact.
Nagas
It's
are
not
not
a
important. But
It's not about democracy.
believe me, Naga
don't try
issue
to,
and this
play
Indo-Naga problem is a reality, which I feel
Our history
as
is
neighbors,
with
even
Tangguls
mates,
and
will
Kabuis.
be
No,
Going
in a
back to
position
history
to
will not
understand
help us in
that as
solving
well.
the problem. Wasbir, let me see one thing. When the civil society on the both sides, any northeasterner
We are
would
not
have
neighbors,
liked
man.
to see them putting in
brothers.
untiring efforts. What they are telling now is extremely tired logic and hackneyed statements. So instead of seeing some untiring efforts, we have seen very tired logic being dished out by everyone. I think this is very sorry to say after hearing both the panelists on both sides.
Right. Now, Mr. Tezatheri, do you have an appeal to the government of Manipur?
I wish I can hear you, because except Ilundang.
Yes. Tezatheri, go ahead.
I can't possibly hear anyone's voice, anyone's, any of the panelists.
Okay, now that is a technical issue that we are trying to fix it as always. Now, what is your appeal, Mr. Tezatheri? What is your appeal to government of Manipur, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh? That is my question to Mr. Tezatheri.
Yeah, our appeal to the government of Manipur, government of Arunachal, Assam, and Nagaland, they should not precipitate the fragile atmosphere, because we need a peaceful atmosphere to resolve the protracted Naga political problem.
Yeah.
And then we cannot raise so many speculation, apprehension, and then disturb the mind of the general public at this moment.
Yes. Right. Now, let me quickly also go to Mr. Nengulo Krome. You know, Mr. Rio's Independence Day speech, where he supported the Naga integration issue. My question is, can the center agree? Can the center agree to this demand? What do you think, Mr. Krome?
No, the center should also look at the sentiments of both the people in the negotiation and also people in the state government. In the past, if you look at the history of the struggle of the conflict, in the past, the people in the assembly or in the state government, which is considered as a puppet government of the government of India, their voices were never welcome. And they also never said anything into the political affairs of the national movement. But now, by and by, the people in the assembly are also becoming more vocal. And in that sense, I think Nepiu Rio has been one of the most vocal chief ministers.
Right.
So if he means what he says, government of India also must respect that he commands a respectable voice of the people.
No, Mr. Krome,
whether it is majority or not,
yeah, Mr. Krome, we are discussing this issue, but there is another aspect.
And he rules the people.
Mr. Krome,
and when he is sincere enough to say that this is the will of the people, government of India also must respect.
Okay. Now, do you agree that there is this delay in resolution of the Naga issue, has taken the Naga people, or particularly the youths, back by decades, because this issue has been paramount and has been overshadowing every other issue in the Naga areas? Mr. Krome.
Yes, it has to some extent done a lot of damage in the past many years, in the sense that this long period of negotiation has brought down the sense of nationalism, which was a concern for us. But now, as the delay goes on, the trend is taking another turn, and Naga youth are becoming more restless, and the sense of nationalism, in the sense that the youth today don't want to lose their identity, I think that has become more stronger. So if the government of India or anybody, even the people in power in the Naga society, also do not handle this with utmost care, then the youth may take control of their own opinion.
Yeah.
And by that time, the leaders will not be able to control
Now, I am running
them.
absolutely
And
short
that
of
will be a
time.
loss
Mr.
for everybody.
Khuraizam, what are your last words? How do we move forward? What are your last words? I am running absolutely short of time. Khuraizam.
Well, if we want to resolve this long issue, all the stakeholders, like our Naga brothers from Manipur, Nagas from the Nagaland, and all other concerned communities should be taken into confidence, sit together, try and find out issues which is not, mutually agreeable, and we should also try to find out certain conditions where it can be mutually understood and respect each other. And if we come to that that level of
absolutely
situation,
yes,
then we can resolve it
okay.
within ourselves first. Then Government of India will be
Mr.
free to do
Nishikant,
whatever.
very quickly, 10 seconds, what are your last words?
May good sense prevail, and while solving one problem, let not other problems crop up, and while solving this problem, everybody should be happy.
Absolutely,
So
very well said, very well said.
Stakeholders, including
May
the
good sense prevail, very well said. Jakia Khate, what are your parting shots? Concluding remarks, Jakia.
Well, any agreement, any honorable agreement which compromises on the aspiration of the people cannot be considered as an honorable agreement. So I hopefully, with the agreement in front of us, with the agreement that we will all have, maybe perhaps it will be honorable, which meets the aspiration of the people.
Absolutely. Mr. Nadang, what do you have to say at the end of the day, at least for today?
Yes, I want to put forth two things. One, I would like to appeal to our neighbors. As much as we respect their history and their rights, we anticipate that they also respect the rights and the history of the Nagas. Number two, time has come for both India and the Naga people to display utmost sincerity in bringing about a lasting solution to the Naga people.
Absolutely. Time has come. I think, in fact, time has been much more. We have spent a lot of time more. What
See,
are your
don't leave everything to the politician. Politician will try to fish in troubled water. I think we as a civil society group must try to pull up our socks and try to do our bit in much more sincere and larger way so that a semblance of a solution can come within a reasonable frame of time.
Absolutely, Mayur Bora, very well said there. We have seen the discussions going on for the last 21 years since 1997, and of course more than 100 rounds of dialogue or negotiations having taken place, yet we are still talking about issues concerning territory and history and so on. But as our panelists have said, good sense must prevail and an expeditious solution to the contentious issue should be arrived at to the acceptable that is acceptable to all parties without any group or community having to face any problem because of one particular issue. We need, at the end of the day, an acceptable solution to the problem. On that note, I end this edition of Northeast Tonight. I thank all my panelists for participating in this very, very engaging discussions. On this note, I end this program. Good night and goodbye.